Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark, also known as the Rational Wrestling Viewer. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Night 2 of WrestleMania 39. Now, I already reviewed WrestleMania Night 1, covered all the matches and all that. And so we're going to be covering all the matches of Night 2. And before I get started, make sure you like the video for the algorithm. Subscribe today, and I will be uploading wrestling content, reviewing shows and pay-per-views, covering wrestling news and rumors and all that good stuff. So we definitely want to get this channel off the ground and, get the grind started. So let's begin with the first match. And the first match is Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Was not expecting this match to take place at WrestleMania. A lot of people wanted to see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, and for whatever reason, we didn't get that match. You would think after the long history between Lashley and Lesnar, dating all the way back to Royal Rumble 2022, you would think their feud would have closed out on the big stage of WrestleMania, considering that Brock got himself disqualified at Chamber against Lashley. And the whole story of that was, Lesnar just could not get one up on Bobby Lashley. He just could not, get his number, so to speak. And it just seemed like that Lesnar was unable to beat Bobby Lashley. And for some reason, we're not going to be able to revisit that feud. I would hope in sometime down the future, we will be able to get that match again and revisit that whole feud. But we got Omos and Lesnar. Omos is a giant, no question about it. He's very green in that ring, but for someone his size and stature, he doesn't need to do a whole lot in the ring. They gave him a very simple match to work. Hit a couple body slams, clotheslines, overpowered Lesnar in the first couple minutes of the match. Omos looked physically impressive against Lesnar. And the story of the match was that Lesnar was struggling to overpower Omos, right? Omos is someone that Brock Lesnar has never fought before, someone that he could not physically match up to. And that was also the story going into WrestleMania, that Omos is just, the bigger man, more physically capable, just overpowering Lesnar, right? Until Lesnar hit a couple of German suplexes and then hit that F5 for the win. And the crowd erupted because it was supposed to be a moment where Lesnar would be able to overpower Omos and get that 3 count. This is a good rub for Omos, though, even though he lost to Lesnar. But just his 3 first WrestleManias, teaming with AJ Styles, facing Lashley last year at WrestleMania, and now this year he's facing Brock Lesnar, and with MVP as his manager. Let's just face it, Omos is a big guy, and usually with big guys in wrestling, they're going to be utilized. Whether we think they're talented or not, whether we think that they're skilled in the ring or not, it doesn't matter. You saw what Great Khali, you saw what Yokozuna, you saw with Andre the Giant, you saw with the Big Show. A lot of big, tall men in wrestling are going to be utilized a lot more frequently. And they're going to be used in a very strong way because, guys like Omos are believable. Being at 7 foot tall, he's going to be someone that the fans and the viewers take seriously because he is so damn big and practically a giant. And, Omos definitely fits that build for someone that the company can use as, I guess, their next big show, right? Strowman was supposed to be that guy, but, for some reason, Strowman could not live up to that. And, we're going to find out if Omos can truly live up to that moniker that Big Show was able to live up to, the Andre the Giant. We got to see if Omos lives up to that potential. So far, so good for Omos, but he still has a long way to go. So, yeah, it was a simple match. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was supposed to be short. Yeah, nothing to complain about with this match. It was okay for what it was. Next, we have perhaps the worst match of the entire card. The Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Showcase. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler takes on Natalya, Shotzi versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. This was my least favorite match. This match to me was boring. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't anything spectacular. Nothing really great happened in the match. And the big problem with the women's tag team division, it's just confusing at the moment. There's not a lot of direction in the women's tag team division. A lot of these women tag teams are just thrown together last minute. Excuse me. They're just thrown together. There's no direction. There's no real storyline when it comes to these female tag teams. And it's very redundant how these teams are just thrown together, right? And we're supposed to believe that they are a tag team, that they gel well together, they blend well together, and they're not really a tag team. It's just the women's division as a whole just doesn't have reliable real tag teams. Like in NXT, the women's tag team division is a lot more solid, and they have a variety of tag teams in NXT. Compared to the main roster, let's just throw Natalya and Shotzi together as a team, right? Let's throw Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan as a team, right? Even though there's no history between both the women, right? At least in NXT in Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, that's a real tag team. That's a real women's tag team. And you look at, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, they're a real tag team. And they look like a tag team. A lot of the teams in NXT, when it comes to the women, they all look like a tag team. You can't say the same thing with the women. There's no real tag teams with the women. And my whole thing is, let's just get rid of the women's tag team championships because there's no use for them. We don't have a lot of women on the roster to do a tag team division. There's not a lot of women for that. So I say we scrap the entire tag team division when it comes to the women and just do away with the entire tag team titles because it's pointless. So back to the match. The match was nothing special. It was just, a lot of the women just, in my opinion, they weren't really on their game as much. It was more like a bathroom break match. If we're being honest, it was more of a bathroom break match. Match was boring. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler go over. They win with the Ronda Rousey basically swoops her way into the ring and makes Shotzi tap out with the armbar. Obviously, Ronda was not in the match as she was hurt, dealing with injury. They still put her in the match regardless. But she was able to swoop in on Shotzi that was already weakened, and she got the submission win, and that's all she wrote, right? So Shayna Baszler and Ronda go over. As we would find out on Monday, that they would not be getting a women's tag team opportunity because, well, Shayna Baszler, she's injured. She has an ankle injury, I believe so. So I know she's out with injury at the moment. I believe the plan was to do Shayna and Ronda versus Becky and Lita. So there's no point in that because now both of them are hurt. So, there goes that match. So yeah, this was the least favorite match of mine on the card. Perhaps the worst match on the card. So now we move on to Intercontinental Championship match, a triple threat between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. Man, oh man, did this match deliver. You talk about three heavyweights, three of the most toughest, hard-hitting, big men, big European guys, squaring off, right, in a triple threat. This match going into WrestleMania, it was expected to deliver. It was expected to be hard-hitting. It was expected to be a lot of chops, and there was a lot of chops in this match, man. A lot of chops. Excuse me. Gunther was laying in those chops, just laying them in like frying pans on Drew and Sheamus. The crowd was obviously rooting for Sheamus to win. He never won the Intercontinental Championship before, so him winning the IC belt would have been a special moment for his career, and the crowd would have definitely erupted. You felt that it was that this match that Sheamus was going to win. Obviously, he did not win. Once I knew that Gunther was out of the ring, I guess for the last 3 minutes of the match, because the last 3 minutes of the match, it was Sheamus and Drew McIntyre going back and forth, pinfall after pinfall, near fall after near fall. And once it was just two of those men in the ring and Gunther was outside the ring, I knew, okay, Gunther is going to swoop in. He's going to catch both men off guard, and he's going to get the win. And I predicted that. It just seemed too predictable at the last sequences of the match that he's been outside the ring for too long. He's going to get back in. He's going to capitalize on a weakened Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and he did, and he got the win. And Gunther powerbombed Sheamus onto McIntyre. Gunther gets the win, and he is still your Intercontinental Champion. And rightfully so. Gunther has been very impressive since debuting on the main roster since last April. And I believe he's been undefeated. I think he's still undefeated. He has not lost one match since debuting. Um, I don't know if they run it back with Sheamus and Gunther in a one-on-one match. Perhaps, probably a backlash. We'll probably see Sheamus and Gunther for the IC belts, more than likely. But regardless, this was one of the top matches of the night, of the entire card, and this match delivered as expected. And you can't expect anything less from Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Every time those two go out there, they deliver. They deliver banger after banger. And we know that Gunther can definitely go. Gunther can definitely, you know, he can definitely work with the top guys and work, very snug in that ring. So yeah, Gunther goes over. Great Intercontinental Championship match. It's nice to have the Intercontinental Championship get more attention and more notoriety. And I love the fact that the Intercontinental Championship was defended at WrestleMania, which, if you look back in history of the past 10, 20 WrestleManias, the Intercontinental Championship has not gotten the most love. The only time the Intercontinental Championship ever felt important was when Shawn and Razor were fighting for the belt in a ladder match at WrestleMania 10, I believe. And that was the only time when the IC belt felt important at a WrestleMania. But this match definitely began a new a pattern that's supposed to be played here when it comes to, giving importance to the IC belt on a WrestleMania stage. And I believe that this match really started that trend, and it should continue for next year's WrestleMania. So moving on, we're going to get, next we get Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. So my problem with this match, Bianca and Asuka, nothing wrong with the match quality per se. The match was fine. The match was very good. Both ladies went out there and put on one hell of a show. The counters were very fluid. When Bianca goes out there, man, she just brings it. She's definitely misses WrestleMania. Asuka never fails to disappoint. My problem with this match, though, is the build. The build was very lackluster. And for someone like Bianca Belair and Asuka, you need to build it up as an important clash. Bianca Belair being Raw Women's Champion for over a year, right? She's basically the top female in the entire division. And then you have Asuka, who has renewed her entire character since the Rumble. She's tapped into her old gimmick from back in Japan, right? And she's become more dangerous. It's the Asuka, the old NXT Asuka. And, if you know anything about NXT Asuka, you know that she was dope. You know for a fact that she was kick-ass and she was a legend, an icon in NXT. And she was undefeated for 914 days. So this match should have been more important, the build-up. It was missing something. They were just kind of out there teaming up. Asuka just teased spitting out her mist and Bianca Belair, which never happened. They could have done more. And having Asuka fight Carmella, before she got injured should have been a squash, in all honesty. I mean, if we're building up Asuka to possibly be the one that dethrones Bianca Belair, you would want to build up Asuka as this menace, this huge threat to Bianca. And how you do that is you have Asuka squash all of her opponents. None of her opponents should be a challenge to her at all. And not just that, she should also be stalking Bianca Belair. Yes, stalking her. She should have been, being more of this crazed lunatic, perhaps stalking Bianca Belair backstage, kind of just freaking her out a little bit, getting more weird around Bianca, right? Letting her know that I'm a threat to your championship. And really playing up to Asuka's NXT career as to show everybody how dominant she was, how much of a force she was reckoned with in NXT. And if you remember correctly, Bianca Belair was also undefeated in NXT until she lost to Shayna Baszler in an NXT takeover. So when it comes to both characters in Bianca and Asuka, they know what it's like to be undefeated for an entire year as champion, right? They know what it's like. Bianca has been undefeated as Raw Women's Champion. And when Asuka was NXT Women's Champion, she was undefeated the entire reign. She surpassed Goldberg. And that's a big deal. They should have made that more of a big deal when Asuka surpassed Goldberg's undefeated streak. So when I look back at this match, an amazing match. The build-up just sucked. Lackluster. The build-up did nothing for excitement level. There was no excitement level going into this match. And for someone like Bianca Belair and Asuka, they should have tried a lot harder. They should have definitely put more effort, more elements into this match for WrestleMania. They should have put a lot more writing and creativity into the feud. But nonetheless, Bianca Belair goes over. She gets the W with the KOD and beats Asuka. Now, Asuka, where does she go from here? I don't know. This loss for Asuka does not do her well. It doesn't bode well for her career because she just renewed her character. And someone that has a renewed character in wrestling, they're usually given a push and giving a title shot or a title run of sorts, and you would expect for Asuka to get a title run with this new character, but it just didn't happen. So we're left wondering, where does Asuka go from here? And we don't know. So it sucks for Asuka because once again she loses. She loses at a WrestleMania, and she's basically 0-4. 0-4 at WrestleMania. She lost to Bianca. She lost to Charlotte. She lost to Rhea. She lost a tag team match, I believe. And Bianca Belair is still Raw Women's Champion. Excuse me. Who's her next challenger? I don't know. I don't know who challenges Bianca Belair next for that championship. But up next, we have Finn Balor versus Edge, Hell in a Cell match. Finn Balor brought back the Demon. Edge tapped into his old Brood gimmick from back in the day. I thought that was pretty cool, giving you a little bit of Attitude Era vibes, a little bit. Finn Balor's Demon gimmick, man, that I tell you, after he lost to Roman at Extreme Rules a couple years back, and the reason why Finn lost was because the turnbuckle betrayed him, right? The turnbuckle was the reason that Finn Balor lost to Roman. And after that, man, the Finn Balor was never the same. The Demon gimmick was never the same. It could not be taken seriously ever again because of that whole turnbuckle fiasco, right? So going into this match, Hell in a Cell match, a lot of excitement. This was going to be the last match between Edge and Finn Balor. Hell in a Cell, which is always a feud ender. And I'm glad they did the Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania because that's how you end a feud that's been going on for months and months. And in this case, Edge started the Judgment Day and basically tried to recruit Finn Balor, only for Finn Balor to turn on Edge and align himself with Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley. And, basically the plan was to take Edge out of the Judgment Day. And since that point, since that time, Edge and Finn Balor have been down each other's throats. Their Extreme Rules match in October was a banger. It got a little bit personal when Beth Phoenix got involved, and Rhea Ripley took her out with a steel chair, and basically Finn Balor had Edge say "I quit" if he didn't want to see Edge, not Edge, if he didn't want to see Beth Phoenix get harmed and get taken out by Rhea Ripley from a steel chair. So he had no choice but to say "I quit" to protect his own wife. So that was deep. That was taking the storyline to the next level. So, Finn Balor basically stole Judgment Day from Edge. So I would expect this match to be, brutal, to be, a bloodbath, and there's some blood involved, a lot of crazy spots in this match. Both guys work well together. Finn Balor was wrestling injured during the entire match, which all respect to him. But this was a match that Finn Balor should have won. This was his match. And it's unfortunate that he loses to Edge at WrestleMania. And basically he gets beat by Edge again, because at the Chamber he got beat by Edge, and at WrestleMania in Hell in a Cell he got beat by Edge. So, and this was his Demon gimmick. So Finn Balor almost never loses when he is tapped into his Demon gimmick. When he becomes the Demon Finn Balor, he almost never loses. So I was shocked to see him lose to Edge, because I'm thinking, okay, where does Finn Balor go from here? Edge is going to take a break. He's going to be gone for a while. So I don't see how that win really benefits Edge. It definitely ruins Finn Balor from this point on. It is what it is. Edge goes over and beats Finn inside Hell in a Cell. So Next is our main event of night 2. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Universal Championship. There's nothing really to say about this main event except these two know how to work that type of match where it's a WrestleMania, a main event, two top guys in their prime. And they just went out there and they killed it. The crowd was so engaged. The crowd was so ready for Cody to finally, finish the story. Finally win the big one for his father. Won the WWE Championship for his father. And, we're all thinking, okay, this is going to be Cody Rhodes achieving crowning moment. And he's going to be the one that finally defeats Roman Reigns. He's the guy. He's the chosen one. He's going to be the one that ends Roman Reigns' historic championship run. And the fans are ready for it. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Now, obviously, Cody Rhodes was protected and lost. It took Solo Sikoa, the Usos, Paul Heyman, a ref bump for Roman to beat Cody Rhodes. And if you've been paying attention to Roman Reigns' matches, his championship matches, most of those matches and the ones that he's won, all the matches he has won, he has been protected. He has been not protected, but he had to cheat to win. He had to use the bloodline. He had to use the bloodline to get the upper hand, to get the win. And had it not been for the Usos and Solo and Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns' championship run would have ended a long time ago, dating all the way back to Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. The reason why Kevin Owens lost was because of Paul Heyman and Jey Uso. The reason why Drew McIntyre lost was because of Solo Sikoa helped Roman win. In this case, it was all members of the bloodline that helped Roman win and Cody lost. The way the match was structured, you can definitely sense that this was going to be Cody Rhodes' crowning moment. This was going to be Cody going over on Roman. And he even broke out of the guillotine, which nobody has been able to do except Cody. Right? Cody broke out of the guillotine. He kicked out the spear. He had Roman basically stressed out. He had Roman losing control, Roman showing cracks and just questioning himself. Right? So it all looked as if Cody was going to win. And personally, I wasn't happy with the results at the time, but knowing what they did on Raw last week, it seems to me that they want to further build up Cody Rhodes as this underdog that overcomes adversity, and it appears that Cody needs more adversity in his character, and it just feels that Cody has not had enough adversity. I mean, he came in at the Rumble, He returned at the Royal Rumble at number 30, which was expected and predicted. And then Cody just gets to go to WrestleMania to fight Roman Reigns, and we're expecting Cody to win. This was a swerve. This was definitely a swerve, and it sets up for Roman to surpass 1,000 days as champion, and for Cody Rhodes to continue his story. This allows Cody Rhodes to be more the underdog, because now he has real adversity to overcome with Brock Lesnar. The fans are more on his side than ever. He still has the fans, he still has the support, he's still over, and I think they run this back at SummerSlam and Cody gets his moment. That's what I predict. That Cody and Roman is going to happen at SummerSlam, and they want to give Cody Rhodes more adversity to overcome for his character, which is important for a babyface. A babyface in wrestling always needs adversity, always needs a kryptonite, always needs something to fight for. A good babyface overcomes a lot of adversity, right? A good babyface doesn't win all the time. And in Cody Rhodes' case, him losing at Mania only further established his status as a strong babyface going forward. But nonetheless, this was an awesome main event. Roman and Cody showed everybody, they showed you a masterclass of how to work a main event match at WrestleMania. It's going to be slow at first. It's going to pick up the pace, and it's going to slow back down, pick up the pace, slow back down, bunch of near falls, false finishes, and high spots. The match will really start to pick up in the end, and the crowd is at the edge of their seats, just waiting for Cody to get that win. But it didn't happen, and I understand why. But a lot of people are going to debate whether or not this was a great choice to have Roman win, have Cody lose. I think when we look back a year from now, we'll come to an agreement that Roman winning was the best outcome. But I still think people are pissed that Cody lost and that Roman's still champion, which is understandable because Cody has been the guy for the longest since he first came back to be the guy to beat Roman. So, yeah, that's night 2 of WrestleMania. That's all the matches that I covered. Night 1 was definitely the better night of WrestleMania. This was probably one of the most exciting WrestleManias in a long time in terms of the build-up. Most of the matches exceeded. Some matches kind of fell short. The best matches of the card were Rhea and Charlotte. By far, that Fatal 4-Way showcase with the men. Roman and Cody delivered. Definitely. Bianca and Asuka definitely was a banger. The Triple Threat IC match was another banger. A lot of great matches at WrestleMania this year. So that being said, this is my Night 2 review. Make sure you drop that like for the algorithm. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark. And subscribe today, and more videos are to come. That being said, peace. I am out.